cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. Good to see you all. Best mods on YouTube. Best mods. Thank you all. Jojo, Bree, Carly, Wolfpack, and Petty Mason. Deb to us. Conspiracies and crime. That's an interesting way to spell that. Well, good afternoon and happy Friday, everybody. Thank you, Bree. Appreciate that. It's a good Friday. Got what's up, Sue? What's up, Carla, Langston, the Crime Crew, Michigan, Christina J. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to everybody, man. Hey, Friday couldn't come fast enough. What's up, Yashira Santiago? Yes, we made it. And today, we have a really cool show today, actually. The reason it's so cool, for many reasons. One, Christopher Gregor is in prison. He's going to be there for another 19 years. And jail justice has been served. And I wonder if the next 19 years it's going to be served further. There's number one, why I'm excited. Number two, I'm excited because we are collabing with the lovely Deception Detective. For me, he's lovely. For many of you ladies, he's lovely to look at. But he's both, right? What's up, everybody? Vegas. Hello, Vegas. All right, so we're collabing with Deception Detective. We've got an interview with Breanna Micciolo. Now, you're going to see how much, she's just a rock star. She's been in it. She's been in it to get any justice she can get for her son, Corey. And Carmen Member says, I have some information on him that's pretty disturbing. Well, I can't wait to see what you have, because I have some information that some justice was served. Nice and cold justice. And I think it's going to continue to be as he gets into prison. So, what's up, Clar and Stella? You're not late. You just got here. We all just got here. And we're saying hello. Sadie's mama. Love you always. What is up, Storm Caddy? A.K.A. Lisa. A.K.A. whatever you want. Perfect way to end the week. Love you too. We've got some cold justice being served. We've got Deception Detective. We've got Breanna Micciolo talking. All in one day. And then after that, I'm going to play the interview of her talking to me. So you're going to see her straight through. She rips Christopher a new one at court with Deception Detective. And then after she rips him a new one, she talks to News Nation. And then after that, she gets in the car and talks to Guilty of Crime. Insane. All right. I didn't want anyone to miss anything. So what's up? Hello, Melly. Melly's in the house. There she is, the beautiful Melly. Saying hi to all the mods and the day ones and all the people. Life artists. What a good name. All right. Let's listen to some prison justice. I'm going to tell you who sent that to me. Who was that? Heather. I don't know if you care, but Heather Martin, if you're here, thank you for sending this to me. I probably would have come across it at some point, but not right now on the day that we're doing this. And I bet you anything, if I was to share this, I always take into consideration when I'm doing something, I take into consideration the family's feelings. So I took into consideration the family's feelings, and I bet anybody $20 if I sent this over to Bree or Rebecca, they would get a kick out of it. And I know we're justice for little Corey Micciolo. However, we know how much we loathe Christopher Gregor. So that being said, hit the like button as you come in, please. If you're leaving, hit the like button on your way out. don't forget to subscribe if you're a rewatch crew person and you're not subscribed. I've got over 1.3 million views and 15,700 subscribers. So that means that people aren't subscribing. They're forgetting. I do the same thing. I forget to subscribe. All right, cool. What's up, Tasman? Jojo says 77. We have 77 and 77 likes. That would be cool. Crime and conspiracies. I don't think it's real, but I definitely think it's funny. It may not. We don't know, but it is funny. And the reaction of the family is the best for them to think. What's up, Sin Surfer? For the family to think that this has actually happened, and it may have, it's priceless to me. All right, it's priceless. And I do talk to the family, so keep that in mind. That's all I'm going to say. So let's listen to this together and hope and pray that it's true.
I had got some updates on Christopher Gregor and what's going on with him in the jail he was in before he was just sentenced to his time. He's in a county jail in New Jersey. And a friend of mine told me some stuff that has been going on with Christopher Gregor that the news is not reporting. Well, before I get into that, if you don't know who this just demon from hell, this betrayer of all betrayers, he took his son, a 6-year-old little boy, out to a gym somewhere, had him running on a treadmill. Now, myself as a father, one of the greatest things you can do is share something you love with your son, whether it's fitness, hunting, fishing, whatever it may be, video games. But this demon piece of shit brings his son, gets him on the treadmill. At first, the kid probably thinks, oh, wow, this is awesome. Could you imagine as he falls and the father just keeps putting it on faster, telling him he's fatter and fatter. Ultimately, the kid just keeps falling because he's 6 years old. What are you doing? This was his way to murder his son and try to make it look like an accident. Because
now this sounds terrible at first, and you're like, man, this sounds terrible. I wouldn't want the family to hear this, but it gets better. And I'm always respectful of if the families see what I put out there, that they don't get mad at me or upset, or that we break ties or anything because I put something out. So yeah, this will be the worst for him in prison. This is just the beginning. What's up, Maria? A crime to remember, a cocktail on the rocks. You got the same thing I do. Let's listen. I won't interrupt anymore. This is good.
Because he hates his life and he's a weak coward, just demon from hell. That's the only way I could put it. It's another guy that when you see this video, which I highly suggest you don't, but when you watch it, it is literally the epitome of if I could only just be alone with this guy for 5 minutes. Well, how do you think convicts feel that are in prison or jail just for stupid shit? They have nothing but rage and anger. They're missing their family, or they just see something like that. An average guy just in there on some dumb shit, and you already know what time it is. Prison politics, jail politics, whatever you want to call them, it already is mandatory that you have to hurt this dude. But the rage you would feel after seeing that video on the news and then knowing that literally you could do anything you want to this guy and get away with it. So a friend of mine named Dirty Red, I grew up with him in Florida, but he ended up moving out to Jersey and whatever, got a case up there. Him and I have been talking here and there, just telling me what's up. He's got family out here. I helped him out with a few situations. And he called me one day laughing, telling me some funny shit. And what I'm about to say, no pun intended. He goes, hey, bro, you know that video with that Treadmill Dad you did? He was asking me some questions. Bro, I got some funny shit to tell you. I go, what's up? What's going on, Dirty? And he goes, look, it's hard to get their hands on it, but you're going to like this one. So I guess he's part of like the trusty crew that serves the trays or whatnot to the inmates on that little protective custody wing. And he's in there.
And I'll will stop really quickly. I'm going to say thank you, Melly, for bringing Adam here. He's going to want to hear this. A lot of times people that make these videos don't lie. These guys that are in prison or in jail with somebody or have connections like Jumpsuit Pablo, they try not to make stories up because they don't want to end up being like some of the creators that get blasted for lying. So I don't know this creator, but I have a feeling that there's some truth to this story. So what color of heart for Corey? Blue for Corey. Blue for Corey. All right. So here's some jail justice after the inmates learn what Christopher Gregor was in for.
They're crying, acting like he's the victim. Real coward, weak piece of shit. And everyone is just always spitting on him, throwing shit on him. Just anywhere he goes, he's constantly being harassed. But this one particular incident really was funny. He said he was with the dude. They passed him his tray through the little flap. He said they mixed up a cocktail. They had rotted milk mixed with piss and shit. They said they played the long game with him, acted like they were his friend. And in a place like that where people just want to cut your head off and you get any type of just guy being nice to you, you have to know it's a trap. But this guy just being such a weak coward, he had no idea what was about to happen. So they give him his tray like normal. And they're like, hey, bro, how are you? You know, they were talking to him for a couple of days. All of this was just to get the milk rotted and mixed with the what they call the concrete shit. They said they loaded up that Dookie AR with the rotted milk shit, piss, whatever else they put in there. And when I say that Dookie AR, it's like a shampoo bottle mixed with just all types of shit in there. And they put a little hot water in there, some coffee, whatever they do, shake it up, and they squeeze that bottle. And obviously through the bottle, just all over. So they were talking to him for a couple of days. They had already prearranged all this. And obviously, if this is what you're going through in jail, just wait till you go to prison, you know. But he told me it's impossible. He said, you know, you can't get to him. You know, the wardens is there and everyone's there making sure he goes and gets the justice and gets sentenced to prison. After that, it's fair game, but they have to get to court. Too many eyes, too many judges, too many prosecutors, too much shit going on. So anyway, back to the story. So after about 3-4 days of them, you know, like kind of rocking him to sleep, you know, gently telling him like, you know.
Now, this is prison justice, Molly H. So I don't know if you don't, you know, we're going to listen to this soon. Again, keep in mind, I talk to the family and I make sure, you know, what I play is okay. The family absolutely loathes this guy. So this is prison. He took his son's life away shamelessly, had no remorse. Prison justice will be served with or without us. So I figure, hey, it's happy Friday. You know what? I'm going to share this jail justice with you all. Thank you, Carly. I appreciate that. All right. All right. We're almost done. And then we'll get into the Bree interview and deception detective and much more.
Bro, you're going to be all right, bro. Shit happens, man. You know, fooling. And
shit happens.
He's like, yeah. He's like, hey, man, you smoke cigarettes? He's like, yeah, man.
Thank you,
bro. They're like, we got you, bro. They'll roll the cigarettes up in like the wrapping that covers the tissue paper, the toilet paper. And they rolled up a regular cigarette, handed it to him, and he looked back like, hey, y'all got a lighter? And dude's like, hey, bro, what? He comes down a little lower, all the way to the flap. Like, you got a little lighter, you could light it. He's like, yeah, hold it up real quick. They made him like kind of bend down into the flap, put the cigarette there, and they just let the clip of Dookie milk, piss, shit, jizz, fucking combo right in his face. They said he was trying to run away and they're squeezing it through the whole fucking thing. He's getting hit in the back. He's falling down. They're hitting him just everywhere. He can't escape it. They just sprayed his whole cell with it and they bounce.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I agree with you. I agree with you, Molly H. And Penny Green, thank you so much. I told somebody I would bet you $20 a family would be okay with me playing this and it would make their day a little better. I'm probably right. That's all I'm going to say. It's not moral. I've never been to jail. I've never been to prison. I wouldn't do this myself either. But let me tell you what, Molly, if Christopher Gregor would have done that to my son or my daughter, I would have took my 9mm and shot him in the balls. So if that's not moral, I don't care. But I hear what you're saying.
They run back to the officer who I don't know if he knows or didn't know. And they're like, hey, man, dude in there got a cigarette. He's smearing shit everywhere. Man, you need to go check on bro. They end up putting him in the psych unit. Fucking took away all his property because he had contraband. I don't know if the officer knew or what, but that's just a little bit of a taste of what you're in for, Christopher Gregor. You piece of shit, scumbag. Stay out, stay free. Us.
Yeah. What up, Viking Mindset? Thank you. That made my day because child abuse is not moral, and I'd have done a lot worse than that. And I gotta give Bree a lot of credit. This is nothing. They didn't hurt him. They didn't kill him like Jeffrey Dahmer got. Many people get beat. None of that happened. They did a little high school kind of prank. And you know what? If it makes the family feel a little better to hear that he's getting some jail justice, I'm all for that. Now, I'm not going around doing that. But you know what? I'm sure as heck going to put a smile on my people's face that I work with all the time when they're crying over their kids. And rightfully so. They're never going to get over that. And they see something like this. It makes them smile a little bit. I'm all down with that. Again, if Christopher Gregor did that to my child, I'd shoot his nuts off. Period. I'd be in jail. So if you don't like me for saying that, anybody, well, I'm sorry, but that's what I would do. So, Bree Micciolo and Rebecca, you are all better people than me. What's up, Janet? How you doing? DOC says he's in juvie. Maybe this is why. Oh, January. You missed what he said. He just jumped on. I'm sorry. Well, they put a shit bomb on Christopher Gregor, and then they set him up in his cell and gave him contraband and got him in a bunch of trouble. So you can go back and watch that. But Bree is a rock star. What's up, Carla Langston? Yeah, I wouldn't be I would be a lot more rude than that. And you would have to stop me from grabbing my 9mm if somebody hurt my kid. I'm sorry. I just can't. That's my world. My kids are my life. Period. All right, so that's why I'm here, so that I could help the families reconcile with justice, get their voices out there, and feel like they're having a voice. And the ones that don't have a voice anymore, I'm here to help. Love you too, Sherry B. All right, listen, Bree's a rock star. We're gonna listen to this quick News Nation interview that she did right after court. You can see her wearing the same shirt the whole time. She wears the same shirt the whole time. She wears the same shirt in court, a Justice for Corey shirt. She wears the same shirt when she wears the same shirt when she does an interview with me, and she wears the same shirt on this, and she's repping her son. I love this woman, and I don't even know her. Let's go.
Respondent Laura Ingle had a chance to talk to Breanna, the mom, today about the sentencing. Here's what she said.
Waiting for your victim impact statements. What was that like for you?
I was definitely nervous at first, but once I started talking, it was easier to, say all the words I needed to say. And there's a few in there that definitely weren't meant to be, but I felt like he needed to hear that. I feel better after saying what I had to say, my piece.
Let's talk about the sentence. 25 years, you wanted 40. What are you thinking right now? What went through your mind when you heard the judge hand down the sentence?
I wasn't surprised. I had a feeling it was going to be 25, just because of his criminal past, I guess, or the lack of. So I kind of knew it wasn't going to be 40, but we were hoping for it. But
now Bree has been consistent the entire time, and I call her Bree because she prefers Bree than Breanna. Breanna's more formal, and that's what the news people call her. I'm not such a formal person, and I call people what they want to be called. I talk to the family. I'm here for the family and any family that wants to reach out to me. Marilyn Gonzalez, thank you for the $5. You guys are making my day. But you know who made my day? It's Lisa that made my day. And Lisa, I can't remember your name here, Stormy Cat or Storm Catty. You actually made my day. And Breanna Micciolo made my day. I'm just going to say it that way. So I love you all. Let's keep going. But Bree is so consistent. She's just such a boss. I'm so proud of Bree too, man. It's just every time she says something, she says the same thing again and again. There's no tripping her up. She's no nonsense, and she tells it how it is. And I believe her. Everything she says, she's got a heart, man. And yeah, I'm here for her and for the family. And Rebecca, when she comes out with her book, I'll put that on blast. All right, let's listen to what she says. She's a rock star.
25 is okay.
So you did the victim impact statements today, and also your parents were there as well. Tell me about what that felt like, because that courtroom was packed. There was a lot of emotion. Talk to me about watching your parents talk about your son.
It was very hard. My dad has been very closed off this whole, since Corey passed, and it was surprising. And I think a good thing that he was able to get up there and say, some things he wanted to say. I feel like we all just felt like relief after we were able to say what we needed.
Did you make eye contact with him?
No.
No. Did you see him? Did you feel him looking at you at any point?
Maybe. And his apology, I can't say it on TV, but I don't believe it.
He said that he did.
Yes. Yeah, it was bullshit. He apologized. I don't forgive him. I never will. And, he's a monster.
You also spoke directly to him at one point.
I wasn't supposed to, but yeah, I did.
Tell us about what you said to him and what came to you in that moment.
I just wanted to tell him that I hated him. I don't forgive him. He's a monster. He wasn't loving like he pretends to be. He didn't hug Corey, didn't kiss Corey. And it made me sick to my stomach that he made it seem like he was a good father in his statement.
Man, I love this family, and I actually have tears right now. My eyes are getting watery listening to this. That's how much love I have for this family and for Bree and for Corey and for Rebecca. I don't just do this because I'm bored and I don't have anything else to do. I really, truly, passionately love helping these people and giving them a voice and boosting them up. Man, she's so strong. All right, let's keep going. Sorry about that.
I just wanted everyone to know it's not true. Don't believe him.
And then we heard from Christopher's father, who stood up in the back of the courtroom, and that was wild because he wanted to get up there and say something.
Well, yeah, they're still in denial. They swear by what Dr. Bodden said, that's an infection, even though no one else believes him. I don't even think the judge does, obviously. I think they're just in denial, and they will say anything against us, even though Corey wasn't abused or killed while he was solely in my custody.
Right. Yeah. And
Of
when
course
you
not.
spoke to him and you said those words, do you now feel a sense of relief of getting those words out? You will, the word closure doesn't exist as far as many of us covering these types of cases are concerned, and I know for victims' families as well. What did that feel like? And now that you've done that?
I think it's the closest thing to closure that I'll get, and it felt very good to tell him I hated him, and I didn't believe him, and yeah, it felt great.
What happens now? 25 years. A lot of people really wanted to hear 40. That was the number that you said before we all started this today.
Yeah,
that's what you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And if you guys go back and you watch the interview that Bree gave with us, she gives grace. She gives grace, and she's real, and she knew that he wasn't going to get the maximum sentence. She said that she knows how Christopher Gregor has been running his whole life. He's been avoiding justice. He's been avoiding the law. She knew about that. And she was being really real. And she said the same things consistently over and over. And she knew, and you're going to see again in the interview at the end, you're going to see, you're just going to see, Jay, you're helping more people get their, and I have another person I just talked to today that I'm going to help. I've got another person that's similar to Christopher Gregor. We're going to do the Sonia Massey story tomorrow. I'm only here to help. I have better things to do, but I love you all, and this just makes me feel good. It's the only thing that I've ever done that makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. Carrie's not here today, but I want to say, if you come back and you watch my episode, Carrie, I'm sorry. Her dog just passed away. Not what I need to hear. I'm already emotional right now, but I'm sorry, Carrie. And man, I talked to Carrie last night, the one that brought us the Lauren DeMolo series, and the one that she's the one that brought us Paul, and she brought us the information about the Joker, the tattoo Joker, Wade Wilson, and her dog just passed away. So everybody say, just throw some prayer hands or say a prayer for our friend Carrie in chat. All right, let's keep going. We're talking about Corey Micciolo. Nothing is going to bring him back. And I just got so much love for that family now, and I'm here for them.
Like the judge said, he had to do it legally. So I respect his decision, and it's not as long as we wanted, but he's not going to get out and, be able to start his life over completely. He's an old man. So I'm happy for that. And
I did.
Hopefully something happens to him in jail. So I shouldn't say that, but
that's how you feel, right? What did you make?
All right, folks, this was a perfect interview to show you what she just said. And I got loud because I had to raise that up. Look at that look on her face, is priceless. She just said, I hope something happens to him in jail. Justice is going to be served, girl. Justice is going to be served. I didn't say that. I didn't do this. I didn't plan this episode to go this way. I planned this episode and it worked out. And Clar, I just sent you both of Paul's email addresses. I can give you his phone number if you want. Anything you want, sweetheart. I got you. If I don't answer you, it's not on purpose. I promise. Melly, thank you for being a member. I love you. You're such a beautiful soul and a beautiful person. And just thank you. All my people here that follow me and that are going all the way to the top with us and to help people that are here for the right reason. Thank you. Because we're not here to bullshit you or to give you drama. We're here for the love and compassion and to help the victims. And sometimes we got to laugh. We just heard Bree. We see that face she has. And she says, I hope something happens to him in jail. And guess what? I got to share that with you. And I hope that more happens to him. But you know what? I don't want bad karma on my plate. So you know what? I'll just let karma do its thing without me thinking bad thoughts. I love all of you guys. Let's keep going. We have a good Friday today. I'm going to come on here tomorrow. I'm going to spend my Saturday with you all and do the much needed Massey case. Man, so bad.
When he was wiping away tears, because I could see him, his head was down. He didn't want to look at you guys when you were giving your victim impact statement. His head was down. He could be seen wiping away what looked like tears.
I think he cried for himself. I don't think he cried tears for Corey or
Exactly.
me or maybe his family. I don't know, but it was for himself. It was selfish tears.
Bree, what will you do now? What's the next step for you and your family?
Well, I have a daughter, so we're just trying to live like a normal life, and I want to be an advocate for other children that are dealing with this because no child should be abused.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And
Watch News Nation, y'all. Watch News Nation. You know, I love my News Nation. I love doing it with you. I love watching that with you. You guys are amazing. I appreciate that you like the way that I report back to you. Even though I'm not always telling the story, I love to watch this information shared with you. Collaborate with people and just go and get justice. Yeah, Miss Massey case is so sad. She said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And that cop, I'm not going to even tell you. We're gonna do that case tomorrow. I'm going to cover that. I'm thinking 1:00 p.m. my time, 4:00 p.m. y'all's time. I'm going to gift 5 memberships right now. Thank you, Melly. Crocodile tears. Absolute crocodile tears. Davy Jones, he was sentenced. I covered the sentencing. It was 3 hours long. He got 25 years. We're going to watch that right now. We're going to watch Bree blast him and Deception Detective at the same time as we talk about him being a sadist. Now he's got another 19 and a half years to serve in prison. So let's hope it's the hardest 19 and a half years he's ever going to face.
Subtle that Chris did. He said that he didn't do anything to kill Corey on the day he died, April 2nd. And that's probably true. In fact, neglect is a crime of not doing anything. The manipulation and gaslighting, of course, is the omission that the injuries that killed Corey were inflicted days and weeks prior to the day he died. Is Treadmill Dad Christopher Gregor a sadistic predator, a misunderstood fall guy, or something else entirely? I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. Today we're...
Now keep in mind, Deception Detective and I, we got love for each other. I let him know I was covering this today. I specifically asked him for this months and months ago. I am so glad that he did it. So when y'all are done here, make sure that you go over there and you like that video and you comment on it and you get him to where he needs to go. Now he's got hundreds or 100,000 followers, whatever, but all the love means something. It means something for him putting the work in that he put in and that he puts in, and the things that I ask him to do, and just the love that he shares. He's a cool guy. So go over there after, subscribe, like, share, all that.
We're going to analyze statements from Chris Gregor's sentencing hearing to determine if he's a sadistic monster, a misunderstood scapegoat, or something else entirely. If you're unfamiliar with this case, don't worry. Before we analyze Chris's apology for signs of remorse, we will analyze the impact statement from the mother of his son, Corey, which will bring us all up to speed.
And before we get into that, just keep in mind this episode has a flow to it that I want you to understand. First, we saw jail justice. Then we saw Bree asking for that jail justice, saying, I hope that happens. And this is her all in one day, folks. All in one day. She goes on the stand. She reads in the riot act, goes on News Nation, gives an interview, and then comes on my show and does an interview after that. This girl is I hope to be as good of a person as she is one day without something bad happening to me like that. Let's go.
Again, you can use your initials, your full name.
Breanna Micciolo.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Your Honor, my name is Breanna Micciolo, and I appear before you today not only as a grieving mother, but also an advocate for justice. On behalf of my son, Corey, I stand here before you to plead for justice that Corey rightfully deserves, and to press for the maximum sentence of Christopher Gregor, whose actions have inflicted irreparable harm in our lives. For you to fully understand the gravity of the situation, I will flash back to July of 2013. This day marks the beginning of a traumatic journey defined by manipulation, abuse, and ultimately an unspeakable loss. At 16, I first met the defendant, who was 21 at the time. He proceeded to feed me drugs, alcohol, and took complete advantage of me, which led to the conception of Corey. From day one of my pregnancy, I knew I would keep Corey, regardless of the way he was conceived. Corey didn't have to be brought into this world, and I knew I owed it to him to bring him into this world with unconditional love. Corey was and still is my life, my world, and my everything. I would also like to speak about my past, which I'm not 100% proud of. You heard a lot about it throughout the trial, and so did a lot of the world. It was very upsetting for that to come out because I've worked extremely hard for many years to be where I am today. I admit I abused drugs, but during the trial it was made out that for some reason my son deserved to be killed because his mom was a drug addict. That is absolutely disgusting. I stand here today, clean and sober, and I know Corey would be so proud of me.
We're proud of you, Bree.
Unfortunately, my son is no longer here to tell his story, so I'm here to be his voice and tell his story along with all the others sitting in the gallery who have continued to stand by me.
A naive 16-year-old mother with an abusive baby daddy is a common situation, which is one reason I'm analyzing this case. As you may know, I prefer to analyze everyday liars and manipulators, like cheaters, scammers, psychos, stalkers, and
And what deception detective may not know when he calls Chris baby daddy, what Bree said on the stand, we know the back truth. If you've been watching my channel, you know that we're going to say the graped word. He graped her, and that's how she got pregnant. She was never attracted to him, never dated him, never anything. On the stand, she said it perfectly. She said, you took advantage of me, and that's how Corey was conceived, and she still had him with unconditional love and support from Breanna Micciolo. And I love you too, Rebecca. Rebecca, you're just an amazing woman, and I hope one day we can get that anger out and turn it into something better for you, for your heart. But right now it's time for her to let grieve, write that book, get it all out. But we're here for you, Rebecca. If you watch this, if you're watching this, Christopher Gregor was no baby daddy. He was a grapist.
sadists, rather than the sensational, but ultimately very rare ones like serial killers and assassins. The second reason I decided to analyze this case in particular is because I think Chris is a classic sadistic parent, which might be less common than the run-of-the-mill alcoholic, low IQ child beater, some of which we've analyzed on the channel, but far more dangerous and far harder to catch. If you don't know what a sadist is, here's how I defined it in my video about Ruby Franke. And the hallmarks of a sadist are that they enjoy harming others, whether it's psychological or physical. And specifically, they enjoy humiliating them, and they like doing it publicly. The second thing that makes a sadist truly sick is that there's no secondary gain. In other words, Liver King lied because he was trying to sell supplements, right? Or Amber Heard, right, was lying to win a lawsuit against Johnny Depp. But sadists enjoy harming other people simply for the enjoyment they derive from it, right? So they do it for their own pleasure.
Once have you seen the defendant shed a tear for Corey in the last 3.5 years since he killed him? And today was fake. I don't believe a word he said, and I don't accept any apologies. He has no remorse for any of the actions he committed. And his only remorse, like you saw today, was for himself because he got caught and convicted. Another reason I could think of is, everything he had done to Corey was done out of spite towards me. Another reason I could think of is he's sick in the head and used Corey as his punching bag. On April 2nd of 2021, it was not the first time that he abused Corey, but it was the last time. He never had an ounce of love for Corey. And to the defendant, Corey was just an inconvenience in his life. He never hugged him. He never praised him. He never told him he was proud of him or that he did a good job. He punished Corey every chance that he could get, and I cannot even begin to imagine what my son dealt with behind closed doors with this man.
Chris resented Breanna. Chris resented Corey. Chris was insane. Chris was punishing Corey. These are all theories Breanna has proposed for why Chris may have abused Corey so severely. In my opinion, they're all irrelevant, even if they're true. That's because for the sadist, punishment is not a means to an end. It is the end goal itself. As a consequence, sadists become very good at putting their victims into situations where they deserve to be punished. For example, they're particularly good at constructing ordeals, or situations where the victim is guaranteed to fail no matter what decision they make. That way, the punishment is guaranteed, and the sadist has a cover for meting out that punishment. And if they're a really good manipulator, they might even gaslight the victim into thinking that punishment was deserved too. In Chris's case, I can only imagine what ordeals he put Corey into in the days and weeks leading up to his death. For example, in that infamous treadmill video, maybe Chris told him he was doing that to toughen him up and make him a man. But, of course, the ordeal is that there was zero chance Corey could have ever kept up running on the treadmill at the speed Chris had set it to. Here's how Ruby Franke, another sadistic parent, put her children into ordeals. This seems to be the way that Ruby gets her kicks. She takes three parts. She puts the children in a situation where they will do something wrong. Right here, she left a 3 and a 5-year-old alone for an hour and enticed them about something in the kitchen. Step number 2, the children mess up, right? The children do exactly what we would expect. They mess up because she set them up for failure. And then step 3, the punishment. And this is the part that Ruby enjoys. She set them up for
Now, this is a great video for everybody to watch and not only take it in and show the love for Corey, show love for Corey, show love for the Micciolo family, complete and utter love unconditionally for anything that they say or do and have ever done. I don't think of Bree as an addict ever. I think she was younger and she was taken advantage of at a young age, got pregnant, and did what a lot of us do, experimented with things when we're younger, and they labeled her in that way because, well, they're awful people. So she didn't do anything. She did nothing that anybody else would do. She was a beautiful mom, still is. But this type of gaslighting, you all that are parents and you've split up with your significant other, baby daddy, baby mama, watch out for these things. Please watch your children and make sure, even if it's not your children, if it's your husband, your boyfriend, somebody you're dating, if they're gaslighting you like this and making you feel that way, reach out to one of us and say, hey, am I crazy? This is what's happening. And we'll help you put it in perspective because this happens a lot, folks. All right, let's keep going. I just want you to take this in, what he's saying. He gave you 3 steps of what a sadist does. They set you up for failure and they punish you. I don't have the full, all 3 of them, but you just heard that. Yeah, DD brings it true. Love his content. Always good to hear his takes. He's not a true crime person, but he analyzes these people that do this because a lot of times they're predators, sadists, etc.
failure. They screwed up. And now she gets to exact some creative punishment.
On April 2nd of 2021, I hesitantly dropped Corey off at the defendant's home, which is a mistake that will haunt me for the rest of my life. I kissed my son goodbye unknowingly for the last time. I wish I knew what was going to happen and I would never let him go. At 3 p.m. the same day, I received a phone call from the defendant where he stated Corey was very sick and he was taking him to the hospital, and then hung up on me after he asked for my insurance card. As an extremely concerned mother, I called him back with no answer. He continued to do so along with texts for hours to find out where Corey was and what was going on. For those few hours, my mother and I called every hospital in the area with no luck. The very last hospital finally said he was there. Then there was a knock on the door. It was our local police there to tell me Corey had passed away. My healthy 6-year-old boy who was just alive, as well, with me a few hours ago, is dead. My heart stopped and my whole body collapsed from the shock that took over my whole body. I was unable to breathe. My mind was racing. And I felt like I was no longer inside my body. All I remember is screaming that they had the wrong child because Corey was fine this morning. I actually convinced myself that it wasn't him and they had the wrong kid for a while. My next question was, where is Chris? I needed to know what happened, and he was nowhere to be found until the next day when I found out.
It'll get a little easier, folks. Sorry about that. I know we played it at the beginning, some jail justice. We got a good laugh at it. This one's rough. It's rough for me. It pulls on my heartstrings. My eyes are teary. And that's not professional to come on here and give you true crime and be cheering up. But you know what? I feel for this family. And we're almost through this, and we're going to rip Christopher Gregor to shreds. Bree is just expressing how she feels, and Deception Detective is going to rip him apart in a second about those fake tears that we know. Yeah, I want to hug her too, that we know is for himself, because he knows he's going to spend, he doesn't know yet, but he knows he's going to be in prison for a long time.
He was in Tennessee. No one was able to tell me what happened to Corey except Corey died at the hospital. I couldn't even see my son until a week later at his funeral because his body was evidence. But the defendant took away my chance to say goodbye to Corey while he was passing away. And not once did he pick up the phone he was using to converse with many of his girlfriends, to call 911, to seek medical attention, which could have potentially saved Corey's life. Instead, he allowed Corey to suffer silently for hours. Once he realized how bad it was, he threw him in the car and then proceeded to drive 15 minutes to the hospital. He slowly walked Corey into the house with no sense of urgency, even when he knew how bad his condition was. I fully believe that if we took Corey to the hospital as soon as he received the lethal blow, he could still be here today.
If you're not familiar with this case, Corey was 6 years old when he died in hospital from blunt force trauma, laceration of the heart and liver, and sepsis. In other words, the 6-year-old was battered to death.
Yep.
2 weeks
Slowly.
before he died, a surveillance camera at Chris's home gym caught him repeatedly forcing Corey to run on a treadmill, increasing the speed till Corey tumbled down. Many of Corey's fatal injuries probably occurred during this ordeal, and others like it behind closed doors. When we analyze Corey's apology in a few minutes, he'll say he didn't do anything wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually believes that. Sadists, as I've said many times on the channel and have even included on my sadist checklist, are adept at gaslighting, so they will always have a plausible reason for the abuse, whether it was a punishment.
Now, I know someone brought up gaslighting earlier and they brought up Amber Heard. Just remember that. Remember Amber Heard and that whole story. Gaslighting is real. People will gaslight you and then they use that word and say, oh, you're gaslighting, you're doing that. It's happened to me many times until I realized exactly what it was and what was happening. So I want to teach you, if you don't know, the steps of gaslighting and the signs of it so that you don't feel like you're alone and you're crazy. And yes, Storm Caddy, I am a big softie. And anybody that knows, I'm all love. If I ever get grumpy or bitchy or if I tell somebody something bad in chat, I'm sorry. All right. Adept at gaslighting. Enjoys public humiliation, enjoys ordeals, and totally remorseless. Nailed it, Deception Detective.
Punishment for misbehaving, or to toughen the kid up, or as a form of tough love, or even therapy. By the way, sadists don't just target children. Anyone can be a victim. For example, I think Jada Pinkett Smith is a sadist, and I think she justifies abusing Will Smith because it's therapeutic. In fact, I think the infamous slap at the 2022 Oscars was the result of a sadistic ordeal. Will was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. If he didn't slap Chris, she would be saying, I really couldn't believe he just sat there like that. You know, what a coward of a man. What a sniveling little wimp. But he was damned that he did too, right? So that's if he didn't. If he did slap Chris Rock. She's not giving him any support there either, right? She's saying, I can't believe he did that. What a wild man. And this is the hallmark, another hallmark of a sadist, the ordeal, right? So where they put their victim in a position where no matter what they do, it's the wrong choice.
There are many steps he could have taken to save my son's life. Instead, he sat home and let Corey slowly die forever.
No, I want you all to know, and I don't say this because, to be, like I'm cool. I talk to the families, but I do talk to the families many times in these cases because I want them to know that anytime they want to say anything, I'm here for them to say it. Even if I'm not filming it, they can text me, they can call me, and they do. They trust me. And Breanna Micciolo sent me that recording herself. And I put that up on the channel. I played it in one of the videos. I absolutely heard him abusing Corey telling Bree about the abuse and him pulling his head back. So just for you folks that are watching and listening, I just want you to know this is a safe place. I'll put my email below. Sometimes I can't get back to everybody that wants me to tell their story or whatever, but I'm here to listen. And if you need a safe space or you want your story to be heard or somebody's close, I'm here for that. Yeah, I despise that kind of deception too, Davy Jones. It's the worst kind. Absolute worst. It makes people, to me, I feel like it's pure evil.
For hours. Every day since April 2nd has been an absolute living nightmare, and it is now the new reality for me to replay Corey's horrific death repeatedly in my head. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning and the last thing I think about before I fall asleep at night. I dread normal conversation with people because I always get asked, how many kids do you have? I say 2, and they follow up asking how old are they? That's when the grief sinks in, and I have to tell them my 6-year-old was killed by his father. It is such an indescribable feeling when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. A sense of guilt was all I could feel. I wanted more kids, but how do I love another child? Is it fair to Corey? That is all I could think about. Now I know this is not true, and I love my daughter with all my heart, but I always will feel emptiness, no matter how many children I have. My new reality is explaining to my daughter what happens to her big brother and why is he not here. I live in fear every day, every second of the day, that something will happen to my daughter, and I will lose her too. It's a horrible feeling, and it causes me such bad anxiety. I take her to the cemetery to see Corey every weekend, and at 1.5 years old, she knows where Corey is, buried. It is every week. It is heartbreaking. She sits and plays with the cars and toys we left there for him. I live in a nightmare, and I would never wish this feeling or how I must live on my worst enemy. Throughout everything he did to Corey, Corey still loved him. He looked up to you, and he still wanted to be. I'm sorry.
And the judge told her not to address him directly. I'm glad she was able to get that in, because she needed that. She needed to be able to address him and tell him she did everything for Corey. She stayed the night at the Gregor's house just to make sure Corey was safe. She wanted nothing to do with that predator, that monster that came into Corey's life and didn't want to pay child support. That's the only reason he came in. And the grandparents more than likely said, you need to have your son. Now that we know you have a son, you need to, show people. And it was all about looks for the Gregor family. So I'm glad Bree got these jabs in, and I hope it's like a knife turning in him every day.
And he still wanted him to be like a real father who treated him like a son. Instead of being a good role model for Corey, he decided to beat him to death. Why? Were you jealous of him? Did you hate me so much that you took it out on Corey? Were you abused as a child? Not that that's a good excuse, because you could have overcome it and became the protector he needed as a child, but instead you became a killer. There was no amount of love in his actions, and only a disturbing amount of hate. It seems like he hated Corey simply because I loved him, and he felt deprived of that love. He couldn't even control himself for long, because after the first visit with my son, he started abusing him. My son didn't even know him, and he was beating him. He was abusing him from the first time.
Jealousy, hate, abused as a child. As I said, sadists enjoy inflicting pain and suffering. Period. Human motivations like jealousy and hate might also be present, but they're not the root cause. Whenever I say things like this, I often get comments, even from people who I've developed a respect for, like the behavior panel, saying things like, DD, you're not a psychologist. You can't diagnose Chris as a sadist. Or, DD, your checklist isn't complete or 100% accurate. And we can debate all day whether or not Chris can be diagnosed as a sadist, but that's not the point of my channel. My position has always been learn how to spot these people so that you can avoid them, or if it's too late for that, cut them out of your life. Simple rules like the ones I've included in my deception deck and checklist.
I believe that was, sweetie. We ran that all together, and those are the first things that they do is they play those impact statements, I believe, and then they sentence at the very, very end. So everybody gets their say, and they asked Chris if he wanted to say anything. He didn't say anything, and then there you go. So it's great that Rebecca's so open to sharing on your and other channels. Child abuse crimes need to be told. And she's an advocate. She is advocating for other children. She's working on Corey's Law. She has a YouTube channel, folks, that has almost 20,000, not YouTube, Facebook channel that has almost 20,000 people in it. And it's not just justice for Corey. It's justice for other children and trying to change the laws. So she's not just doing it for Corey. It's for all children. Anyway, yeah, she's absolutely amazing. And they did blast her in court, and they put her on the stand like she was on trial. And you know what? I wanted to make sure that we lifted her up. That whole drug addict thing was a bunch of just BS.
Like the ones I posted on the DD forum, are actually useful to people in the real world. Like it or not, we often don't have enough time or evidence in the real world to make perfect decisions. We have to be able to spot lies and manipulation in real time enough to make an informed decision. If you're listening on podcast mode, I'll just read you my 4 signs of a sadist. First, they enjoy public humiliation. In other words, they like to publicize their misdeeds in order to humiliate their victim. Second, as I've already said, sadists enjoy ordeals, situations where no matter what the victim does, they will get punished. Third, sadists are totally remorseless. And that's either because they've gaslit themselves into believing what they did was justified, or that they're just remorseless the way that psychopaths are. And fourth, as I've said, sadists are adept at gaslighting. And that's because if they weren't good at gaslighting people and being manipulative, they wouldn't have victims for very long. People would see right through what they're doing and get out even earlier. The only things Chris hasn't checked on our checklist yet are remorselessness and public humiliation. We're about to.
Now we'll pause it really quick just to say, you're absolutely spot on. A deception detective is an attorney trained in statement analysis. He knows what he's talking about. There are many people out there that have degrees in psychology or psychiatry that don't know half as much as he does. Having a degree doesn't mean anything. Knowledge and learning through people's behavior and analyzing statements and doing it for a long time and having that intuition and understanding people and really how they're saying things is the qualifications that I look for. So I'm not trained in a damn thing that has to do with true crime, but I have the empathy and I have the voice and I have the compassion and I take logic and reason to do it. So yeah, I don't know why people even say that.
To analyze his apology, so we'll get to the remorselessness soon. As far as public humiliation goes, this entire trial might be a public humiliation ritual. When I hit play, listen to how Breanna explains how it came about.
I hate you for not letting me say goodbye to my son, but I thank God your face is not the last one he saw. I'm sorry. What this monster did was pathetic, disgusting, and I wish him nothing but the worst. One could only hope that karma comes to him quickly. After all he's done, you would hope he'd admit what he's done, but no. Instead of grieving, I had to fight for justice for 3 long years. Go to trial just to relive everything. I had to see that video that I never wanted to see. I didn't have to see it until 2 weeks before this trial. I went 3 years without seeing it. Oh, I'm sorry. Just for you to be found guilty anyway. What was the point of that? Just to make it worse for us? Are you that crazy that you convinced yourself you didn't do this? I hate you. I will never forgive you. And I'm going to skip that one. You have stolen my full potential at happiness. And I will never have my son back. My family will never feel whole again. My daughter will never get to meet her brother. And my boyfriend will never get to be the father that the defendant should have been to our son. He took my whole world away from me. He has shown and proven to be that special kind of dirtbag he claimed I was. Your Honor, all this monster had to do was say he did not want to be a father. No one would have made him. I would have happily continued to raise my son alone with the help of my family. He had many opportunities not to do this to him. He is in this current situation due to his own actions, and every day he will have to live with this. He deserves nothing less than to experience the pain, suffering, and isolation that he inflicted on Corey. I hope that every moment he's been in prison is haunted by the torment of knowing he killed my child. I fear when Gregor gets out of jail, whenever that is, he will come after my family and I again. I fear for our lives. His twisted mind truly thinks that I caused all this and that he's in jail because of me.
Now, listen, they hadn't sentenced him yet. They do impact statements. They let him talk, and sometimes they'll pull things, depending on states. They'll let the defense talk or somebody say a statement on his behalf to save and get it into the judge's hands. So he didn't get the max sentence he could have got. He got 25 years because he didn't have a previous record, and because the judge was looking only at that. He wasn't looking at what they said. He wasn't. Remember, whatever judge looked at that video decided to give Corey back. Bree filed many complaints with CPS, is what I call Child Protective Services, over and over and over, and they still gave Corey back to Christopher Gregor, and that's why they're being sued as we speak. So that's what he got. He didn't get the max, and we covered the trial for 3 hours. The judge tells you exactly why and what. He's got 19 and a half years left, according to my calculation, with his time served, and at 85% time, if he doesn't do anything wrong, he'll be out in 19 and a half years or less.
Even though he's here because he killed him. I truly believe if he ever gets out and gets the opportunity, he will kill me. Your Honor, Corey should be going into 5th grade in September. hanging out with his friends, playing sports and enjoying his life. Instead, he will never experience finding his first girlfriend, graduating high school, falling in love, driving a car, getting married, or having kids. Christopher robbed him of his entire future, and Corey could have easily lived until he was 80 years old. He stole over 70 years from Corey and thousands of memories he could have made. I will never see my son again. I miss him and I love him so much. There are countless reasons Christopher deserves the maximum sentence. He rejected what I considered a generous plea deal, which shows how selfish and ignorant he is as a person. I beg you to not allow this injustice to continue, and he must face the full consequences of his actions.
And voila, Chris refused a generous plea deal, forcing this case to go to a public trial. That decision might have been one final sadistic screw you to Corey. By going to trial, Chris guaranteed Corey's humiliating treadmill video would be played to an audience. And
I want you to know that audience did play to what he was selling them. It did play to it because they didn't give him the max sentence. He was not found that it was a premeditated, which it wasn't really technically premeditated if you are to look at the law. And that's why he went to trial, was to find that one little thing that he could find to cross a T and dot an I. His dad got him out of trouble his whole life, and he refused to take a plea deal, not only because he was arrogant. He knew that if he dressed up in a suit and sat there pretty with a good lawyer, paying a top-notch lawyer, that he might get less time. And he did. So he didn't get much less time. He could have gotten 40 years. He didn't get 30 years, but he got a little less time. But remember, that's a long time for somebody like him that's used to getting away with everything.
as a bonus, Breanna's dirty laundry about drug use, etc., would be aired out in front of the press. I can't say for sure that's why he did it, but it would be par for the course. Now let's analyze Chris's apology. Remember, we're looking for signs of remorse, and conveniently, I have a card in the deception deck specifically about assessing apologies. So before we listen to Chris's, I'll just read you the card. To determine sincerity, consider voluntariness. Was the apology compelled or freely given? Genuine remorse is typically voluntary. Specificity. General apologies may lack genuine acknowledgement of specific wrongdoings. Priority. Was the apology directed at the actual victims or elsewhere? True apologies directly address those who were harmed. And this is the most important. Responsibility. Did the speaker fully accept responsibility, or did they shift blame? Owning up to one's actions is a hallmark of sincerity.
Gregor, sir, is there anything you'd like to say about yourself or your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please go ahead.
Just want to say thank you for the opportunity to speak today. And Breanna, we haven't talked since Corey passed away. With everything that has been said, I just want to tell you that I'm sorry that you lost Corey. He was, to say simply, the best. I know we'll miss him for the rest of our life.
And before we get into what Deception Detective says, I didn't stop this when we were watching we watched this live together. It was hard for him to even get these words out. There's no tears here, and you can tell this looks forced. He rehearsed it. His parents probably helped him, or his attorney helped him to say this. They knew that if he said this and he looked and appealed to the judge, that the judge would go a bit easier on him, as he doesn't have convictions of him selling weed before, graping people, etc. So he played to the judge. The judge was the one that was making the final decision, even though the jury convicted him. And the charges that they gave him, it was up to the judge to decide the actual time and the length of the sentence. So happy Friday, Lauren. What's up? And I can't stop thinking about Corey and Bree and Rebecca as well. And we're doing this because we're analyzing this monster, and we're lifting Bree up today. We are lifting her up and saying what an awesome woman she is, and let's all stand behind her, because it's not the last we're going to hear from her.
In 2 years that I knew Corey were very difficult, but they were the greatest years of my life. And he was
You're a liar.
Happy, energetic, loving, radiant young boy who flourished in his life in all aspects the last year of his life. And
he's a liar.
Sorry. That will be how I remember him. And Corey, wherever you are, I just want to say that I'm proud of you. Everything that you did.
When Chris said he just had one thing to say to Corey, I was expecting him to say, I'm sorry. But even in this scripted apology, that didn't occur to him. When I say
Scripted,
sadists are remorseless, this is what I'm talking about. In fact, the closest Chris came to an apology was telling Breanna he's sorry that she lost Corey, which
There you
isn't really
go.
an apology at all since he's not.
All right, you guys called it out. He said he's sorry you lost Corey. He didn't say he's sorry he lost his beautiful son. You could tell that he absolutely scripted this. He had to check his script for that. He looked down. He knew what he was going to say. He knew how to appeal to the judge. He's been doing it all of his life. I didn't see any tears at all. And I'm glad that we're getting to get this out right now, because during live sentencing, we didn't do this. So now we're getting to do it. We didn't do this with Toddy. Now Toddy won. She did always does great work. She did a good interview with Bree. Her and I worked together. We did a test run. We were supposed to stream together that day, and her dog got heartworm, so it didn't work out. So Toddy one and I are fellow creators that plan on doing something in the future, and we both talk to the family and lift them up. So someone mentioned Toddy. Go subscribe to Toddy. Love her as a person. She's great. Now the Gypsy Rose stuff, that's another story, but we'll talk about that later.
Taking responsibility for bringing that situation about. It's passive.
The last months of his life, us three, Breanna, Corey, and me, we spent more time together than apart. All those hikes and walks, trips to the beach, time spent playing football and all the other sports, going to
while
Sky
you were
Zone,
hitting
the
him.
park, the playground, sledding, and all of that. I saw how much Breanna loved Corey, how much he loved her, and how well we could co-parent together. Those memories and all the good times, they'll be what I remember, and they help me get through the tough days. And I hope that they can help you too, Breanna. I'm sorry you believe I could have done this to our son, and it pains me to know that you view my actions those months together as ingenuine, that I could have hurt the most important person in my life. What happened on March 20th was inexcusable. To you, Breanna, your family, and mine, I want to apologize that you had to see Corey treated that way.
I'm sorry you think I could have done that. I'm sorry you had to see Corey treated that way. More non-apologies delivered in the passive voice. If we didn't know any better, we'd be forgiven for thinking he's just an innocent bystander extending his sympathies for something that someone else has done. In fact, when he said, I'm sorry you think I could have done that, it sounded more like he was chastising Breanna rather than being remorseful about what he did. This is likely just a taste of the gaslighting and manipulation that went on between them. Remember, he groomed her since she was 16 years old. Also, I hope you caught the fact that he didn't say he loved Corey, he just noticed how much Breanna loved Corey, or that he apologized to Breanna and her family, but there's still been no apology extended to Corey. When I say remorselessness, this is what I mean. When I hit play, Chris is going to show just how manipulative he really is.
I understand this single moment will overshadow all of the others, but it's not representative of who I am, who Corey was, and his relationship with me and him. I want to assure you that on April 2nd, I did nothing to cause Corey's passing. I didn't hurt my son. I love him and I still do. I regret not bringing him to the hospital sooner. I didn't know how sick he was. I didn't know. I just thought he was tired. And whether you believe Dr. Bodden or Dr. Andrews' version of the events, the outcome is still the same. Corey is gone. He had so much to give this world, and he still can. What we do in his memory, for his memory, things that he would want us to do, that's all we have now. To the court staff, sheriff officers, to the jury, and to you, Your Honor, thank you for being professional through this whole process. I understand you have a job to do today, Your Honor. Sentence me for the crimes I've been convicted of today. I ask that you could please consider all of the evidence presented in and out of the courtroom when making your decision today. I ask you to sentence me fairly, taking into consideration my entire life, and not just based on the 12 days. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, sir.
Like every other sadist we've analyzed on the channel, Chris is a coward.
All right.
They're lions to...
Sorry, folks. I had it paused on purpose. My son came over and I was talking to him anyway. I'll talk about that after. Best things in life, and that's not what Christopher Gregor does. So I wasn't talking to you all if you thought that I was muted or something. And yeah, Toddy won. Hopefully prayers for her dog. And her dog has heartworm. I don't know what's happened since, but that's why she didn't get to go to the hearing. Thank you all for being such a great crew and taking care of your just chatting it up while I was doing my thing.
To people who can't defend themselves, and they're little lambs to people who can't. We've even seen it with run-of-the-mill tough guy fathers who will go onto other YouTube channels and berate the hosts, but they fall off the face of the earth when I offer to interview them. But that's not what I wanted to wrap up with. I wanted to highlight something more subtle that Chris did. He said that he didn't do anything to kill Corey on the day he died, April 2nd, and that's probably true. In fact, neglect is a crime of not doing anything. And I'm sure if he were alone with Breanna, he'd probably hammer her over the head with that fact. The manipulation and gaslighting, of course, is the omission that the injuries that killed Corey were inflicted days and weeks prior to the day he died. Since I know you all so well, I'm sure you've noticed that I didn't analyze Breanna's level of involvement or neglect. If you want to continue the series, let's get this video to 50,000 views. You can also vote on who we analyze next by becoming a channel member, link in description. Want to see me analyze a sadist who made her own cult? Click the video on your screen now. Until next time, stay true.
I'm Vinny Politan, the subject of my investigation, the Idaho student murders. This is the biggest case that we are tracking. This case is about 4 awesome students who were taken from this earth by evil. That is the only way to describe what happened at the University of Idaho. Here's the story.
Ethan, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee were 4 friends living their best lives. All students at the University of Idaho in Moscow, Idaho, a place with a reputation as being incredibly safe. But in the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, those 4 students were stabbed to death inside their off-campus residence. The brutal crime shook the community and touched the nation, setting off an intense manhunt for a killer. Investigators from the Moscow police joined forces with the Idaho State Police and the FBI, following every lead, every tip, and every piece of evidence. That investigation took them across the country to Pennsylvania and led them to this man, a grad student at a neighboring university in Pullman, Washington. This accused mass killer has denied the allegation.
All right, I will not be covering this guy anytime soon. Sorry. Hope you guys didn't leave. I don't know. My son came over and he's getting an eye surgery soon. He's gonna get LASIK. So anyway, I was talking to him about that, and he's gonna be 25. He's gonna be 25, and when he was a little guy, he has bad eyes. They told him he couldn't get the surgery until he was 25, and we promised to pay for it when he was 3, and now he's gonna be 25, and we're gonna pay for it and take care of him. So anyway, sorry about that. Did the video stop playing, or was it done? What happened? I had to walk away for a second because, kids. Let me know if it was done. You guys are still talking. Yeah, 25. What? I was so confused. What were you confused about? Okay, it was done. It finished. Okay, thank you. All right, so we have more. Lauren says sadist is the correct term to use, sir. We all stand behind Breanna and our family in our heart. Absolutely. And thank you guys for staying here and paying attention. Yeah, I'm absolutely okay. I was just talking to my son. He came by and he's getting his eye surgery done soon. So I just needed to talk to him about that. Everything's all good. All right, so we're on to the next. Let's pull this down and keep going. We're going to see Bree. Yeah, why were we watching Vinny? Because I walked away for a second to talk to my son and it kept playing. All right, yeah, my family is, I absolutely love my family. My son is going to be 25. My daughter's going to be 10. They're 15 years apart, folks. All right, I'm going to pull up another video. I want you to see the video of Bree being an absolute rock star on the day of that speech that she gave, the impact statement, excuse me. She gave the impact statement, and I'm trying to find that. And then she talked to News Nation on her way out. And then after talking to News Nation on her way out, she still talked to us in the car. And I think a lot of people didn't get to see that because, where is it? Okay, it's this one. They didn't get a chance to hear it because we had to hop off. So let's do this, and let me make sure you guys can hear it on this player. Thank you for still being here. A Crime Remember says, my baby boy turned 25 on August. All right. I didn't realize you were on. I'd love to catch the replay later. Yes, definitely. I'm still here. So I want to show this and make sure that we're able to show it. Last time I tried doing this, it didn't play the sound. So let me know if it plays the sound. And I want you to know that this was the interview. I'm going to bring myself way down here. Oh, how else can I do this? I can make myself smaller. It doesn't matter. All right, so let's see if you can hear this. Bree went on the stand, did her impact statement, then talked to News Nation, and then after she talked to News Nation, she did this interview in the car. You can tell she was tired by the end of the day. A lot of people missed this interview. They didn't get to see it because you missed the segment because she hopped off and then hopped back on. So let's see if we can hear it. Otherwise, I'll have to use a different player, and Bree, our mod, will have to tell me which the one she told me about. All right, so that's what happened last time. So I'm going to open it up with VLC. Please don't take off. I think it's important that you guys get to see this. You're not going to read lips. I'm going to bring up the VLC player. I don't know why this tends to do that, but it does. So you don't have to read lips, but a lot of people did miss this, and it sucks that they missed it, but they did the best that they could. You saw Bree was trying to leave the courthouse, and they called her in, or the News Nation stopped her, and etc. So why do they gotta do this with Microsoft? Can't I just play VLC? All right, let's try to just play this through there, and then hopefully I could do this because I really wanted to show this today, folks. Let me see if there's an option. Why is it coming up like that? Let me open it. Yeah. Open in terminal view. I'm sorry. I thought it was going to play the volume, but it didn't. And if I play it through YouTube, it's probably going to pull it down. Isn't that what it normally does if you play off your own channel, folks? All right. Let's do it this way then. I'm sorry about that. Sorry. All right. Let's try it this way. I don't know if it's going to work. This is not good. I really wanted to show this. Let me try to play it through my channel and see if it lets me do it. But it's important to hear what she says. She's consistent throughout. And every time Bree talks, she says the same thing, and she says it how she means it. And it was a great interview. It wasn't where she thought she needed to not say something because she was on News Nation and they caught her on her way out, right? So let me find it and see if it doesn't kick me off. If it does, then I'm sorry. Then you guys will all have to just. But I really, 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 really wanted to play this for you all with me on there talking to you. So hang in there. Hit the like button if you can while you're waiting. Again, not a normal Friday for me. And when my son comes, well, that's it. All right. Gotta talk to him. I see people coming in here talking about they had eye surgery or whatever too. So you guys get it. All right, let's see if this happens. Let's see if I get this to share. I have the download. I don't know how to get VLC to work. All right, let's see if it doesn't kick me off, folks. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Oh, now we're on. I don't know what happened. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
No problem, ma'am.
Oh man. So, tell me. I know it's disappointing, or tell me your thoughts. I mean, wow.
So I guess it's disappointing because it wasn't like the full 40 years. I think I'm just like I'm accepting the 25. I mean, it is what it is. It's not. It's a light sentence, but I mean, it's a long time, you know, to be in prison.
Right.
I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope something happens to him while he's in there. I'm allowed to say that, I hope. And,
No, very true. Very true.
I mean, you know, yeah, I'm okay with it. I know.
Now she says that multiple times, folks. So anyway, I'm glad they're sound now. Let's listen to this, and I'll watch what you're chatting. I'm glad that she just can say what she wants to say. She said it multiple times, so I believe that she means it.
A lot of people are, and a lot of people probably won't understand. But when you come from, you know, when it first happens, it wasn't even considered, you know, a homicide or murder, and now we're here and he's sentenced to 25 years. You know, we didn't even think he was going to get charged. You know, so, and no one really listened. No one believed that, yes, he did this. And now, you know, for the judge to acknowledge that he doesn't believe, you know, Chris or his family saying he's a good guy. He was like, I don't, you know, absolutely not. You're not. So I'm just happy everyone else sees it. The judge saw it. Unfortunately, our justice system sucks. And, you know, you think anyone that can kill a child, let alone your own child, should get life. But unfortunately, the laws and, you know, the fact that he doesn't have any criminal convictions played heavily, I think, into it. So I can't blame the judge. It's just the justice system. He had to do what he could with what he had. So it's not, you know, Corey's life was worth way more than 25 years. But, you know, I'm just, like I said, I'm hoping, you know, the day before he gets out, something happens.
Well, you know, you're right. So 25 years and then, you know, the time served, I think that's going to kill him inside a lot. He's never been really held accountable for anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I saw him crying. I don't know if he was crying for himself or not. You were there. Powerful statements.
Thank you.
But I can see your point where you didn't think he was going to get charged at all. And he went from that to 25 years.
Yeah.
So,
it was, you know,
no, folks, the show is not over. I'm still here. I'm playing the interview with Bree that came on right after we did sentencing together, and I wanted to show this with you because a lot of people dropped off and weren't able to see it with me. So yeah, I don't know what happened. A crime to remember. I don't think anyone did anything about a comment, but no, I'm here, Stella. We're listening to the interview that Bree gave us right after she talked to News Nation. So she did her impact statement. And then after her impact statement, I'm kind of doing what Deception Detective just did. He was showing us something from before. You're welcome, Susan. OG Murderino, you're welcome. So yeah, I'm just showing you this in case you missed it. So Bree did her impact statement. Christopher Gregor got sentenced. She did a News Nation interview, and then she came on and interviewed with us on her car ride home or wherever she was going. So yes, that's what I wanted. That's why we're here, so we could do it together.
When he got convicted and these last 2 months while we were waiting for the sentencing, I kind of had it in my head that it was going to be 25 this whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had a feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but I felt like that was going to happen, and I made myself okay with it. So it wasn't like a surprise when I heard it.
Yeah, it was powerful though. what you were able to say to him, and we all appreciated that, being able to hear that. I mean, you being able to look at him and tell him, what a monster he was and what he did to his son. So hopefully it resonates with him for the next 19 years or
yeah,
whatever.
I don't know what he was. So I wrote my statement. I read most of it, but
she drops off. It went out. Hold on. She can come back on in a second. Hello, everybody. As you can see, Bree.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are. Okay. That's okay.
So, me telling him I hate him, I'll never forgive him. I wasn't like supposed to directly, what is it called? Address him. It was supposed to be to the judge. The judge, I could sense that he was about to give me listen, but he let me do it. And it felt so good saying that to him. He didn't look at me once. And it just felt good because I haven't talked to him since that day. And regarding his statement, it's all bullshit.
Right.
I don't believe it.
See, I love that how candid she is. And Davey, I don't know why they're held in such high regards. I don't understand why the judge does what he does. I don't understand how he can clearly see what happened and then still say, well, he didn't have a record, so whatever. No, I did I coordinate my shirts? No, I didn't coordinate my shirts. I have multiple shirts with the same color. And yeah, you do age faster. And when people are doing bad things to you, like we heard in the beginning of the show, he's going to age even faster, especially when someone gives him prison justice in the way that I think they will. That treadmill video, folks, went viral. So a lot of those people in the prison system are going to see that or have seen it and will want to literally beat that guy to a pulp. Thank you, Susan OG Murderino, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep listening to her.
He said the last few months, Corey's life, we got along. No, we didn't. We hated each other.
I knew
and that he was
too.
sorry that I lost Corey. I'm like, are you sorry you killed him? That's not enough. All you said was, I'm sorry you lost Corey.
Right.
I would never forgive him no matter what he said. But the fact that it was such a half-assed apology,
It was more for himself, trying to get a lighter sentence, I believe. And we could all see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I was like, that was the fakest thing I've ever seen. Are we kidding?
Me too. Yeah. I've heard, I've watched almost every one of your interviews, and everything that you've said is exactly the opposite of what he said in that courtroom. And so right then and there, I knew he was just lying to save himself, essentially. So,
it was the fakest thing I've ever heard in my life. Everything he said, like, I've never heard a word like that come out of his mouth ever. So it was just surprising, but because I didn't expect him to say anything. I thought,
Isn't that interesting, folks, that she didn't expect him to say anything, but everything he said was just a complete, what we just went over. It was scripted. It was 110% scripted, folks. I don't know who wrote that for him, but it was so bad, so scripted. But the judge doesn't know him, so the judge didn't know that. And Sue, I'd love to do a collab with Jumpsuit sometime. I'd like you to, I'd like people that know him or talk to him to say that I've been in his chat more. So hopefully he notices me. He did a collaboration with Duty Ron, and I'd love to do a collaboration with him. Anyway, let's keep listening to Bree. Again, she's just spot on. Everything she says, same thing over and over, never faulty. Oh,
but
yeah. I think his parents probably.
Like I said in my statement, yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, your statement. I bet. It was also very self-serving of his dad what he did in the courtroom. I mean, I bet you were just like huge eye roll for him to do that. Even the judge thought that was pitiful.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was like he wanted to make it clear to everybody. Well, Corey wasn't abused in my house. What happened after, I don't know. Like, that's what it kind of felt like. He just wanted to clear the air. Like, I never abused him. You never saw it. I think that's what it felt like. But apparently what did he say? He's going to start telling his side of the story. Something like that, he said.
Oh, yeah.
No one really cares, but.
Nobody cares. He's probably trying to make a penny because that's how they are.
Yeah.
But
So,
I mean,
you know,
I just,
they
you
still
guys, it
didn't
was
accept
powerful.
it, but thank
They
you.
didn't accept it, but you know what? They will be when his son is calling and he needs commissary and whatever else he needs for the next 19 years, and then parole will be up. But that's a long time. You're right. In perspective, it's a long time. And we're all here. We're all saying prayers. We support everybody's. You have a huge support system. And I appreciate you for coming and just saying something. I saw the emotion in the courtroom, and I felt it all, and I saw through the lies, and we all did. So thank you for coming here. I know you're tired, probably a long day, long week. So if you have anything else you want to say, otherwise I'll let you. I know you got to get on to your next thing, and we do appreciate you.
Thank you. I can't think of anything I really want to say. I appreciate everybody, telling Corey's story, showing who Christopher really is, the monster he is. And, I'm just grateful that I had everyone's support.
And you did, and you do, and I can't wait to see what's next. Hopefully Corey's law comes through, because that can't I mean, that was just such an injustice, every single which way it went, every single corner. It didn't need to happen. So everybody, we're all sending our love. I support your mom. I know she wants to write a book. She has so much to talk about. So whatever you guys do, we support you, and we're here, and we're still trying. We've talked to Dr. Thomas, by the way, and I've told him that you said thank you. So I want to get a statement from him or get him on the channel or something.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to let you know we're still on that. We're very we follow through with what we want to do. So we're here. We're not going anywhere. If you need anything, reach out. All right.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
All right. We all love you, and you take care. Bye-bye.
All right,
y'all. Well, exactly what I just said. All right, y'all. All right. The screen got really big. Whoa. All right. I think we did a good hour and a half on a Friday. It was, we had fun. Yeah, I was hyper. I think that I think I might have been playing that on 1.25 speed. I don't know, but you know me. I can't sit there and listen to someone talk like this. So even myself, I had to pump it up. All right, so take a couple more comments and talk to you all. It is a Friday. I know everybody's got somewhere else to go. There's probably other shows coming on, or you got something to do. I need to reach out to Carrie, man. I feel really, if you guys know who Carrie is, her dog just passed away. His name is Poppy Chulo, which is adorable, a tiny little chihuahua. Monarch says it is long, but not long enough for taking Corey's young life. Of course, I'm so disappointed the system didn't protect him from his father. They should have been on Bree's side. Yeah, I don't think they took a side. They should have been on Corey's side, and they didn't. They weren't. And not only were they not on Corey's side, but folks, they gave Corey back to Christopher after they saw that treadmill incident. How could you do that? I don't understand. I really truly don't. So just think of it that way. We have my son already left. He just stopped by to pack up some food, and I just bought him a rice cooker, and a rice cooker with a slow cooker in it, so he can go home and cook something. And he's a boy. He's a man, and he pays his apartment, his rent in San Jose. He's been living on his own since he was 21. So, we try to help him out when we can, but he's not here. He left already. But Poppy Chulo, I want to send love to Carrie. Carrie, if you listen to this after, we all love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for everything you do. And all of you guys, thank you so very much. Lynette says, for real, they are just as guilty as him. Yeah, they gave Corey back to Christopher after watching that video. I don't even know how. Kirsten, go to bed. Everyone else have a great night. Yeah, we never stop spoiling our kids, our boys, our girls, our kids. All right, y'all. Yeah, after that video, it's crazy. I love you all. And you know what? I hope that you guys can join me tomorrow in the quest for justice of, who is it? Who's the lady? what's the lady? There's so many people's names on my mind right now. It At first I thought her name was not what it was, so it is Sonia Massey. Cop murdered her, and she was unarmed. All she had was a boiling pot of water. Only 51 likes. I guess you guys were watching the show too much to like it. But yeah, we're gonna cover Sonia Massey starting tomorrow on a Saturday. Put your notifications on 1 o'clock. I see there was 150 some odd people in here when we were watching this. So hopefully you guys hit that like button. For the new people, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notifications. Tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. Not only did the cop lie, Lisa Lynn, but you guys are going to be blown. Your mind's going to be blown when we talk about, if you haven't seen the depth of that case with Sonia Massey, you're going to see the depth of it. You're going to see the depth of that cop being already reprimanded many times for things that he did, and them not taking him off the line of working. Yeah, 1 o'clock my time. It sounds like a good time for me. 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 3 o'clock Central, and 4 o'clock Eastern. So just wanted you to give you guys a heads up about Sonia Massey. And, in my opinion, we need justice. When cops do something like that he did, you guys are, if you haven't seen that, you're gonna be blown away, and no pun intended. And also we hit 111, which is an angel number. So Sonia, you're our angel. You did nothing wrong, and you're with us, and we want to see this through. We want to see justice for you and your family. I absolutely believe there was racism involved in that. So I want you guys to know, trigger warning for everybody. You're right, C. Smith. Miss Massey was absolutely murdered. There's no question about it in my mind. Now, the cop is in jail right now. Sophie, great live. Hope to join you tomorrow. I hope so too. I just wanted to tell you that, I think she was just making a joke. Now, she had mental problems. She had some mental health things she was going through, and she's following God, going to church, and she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, which is not a threat. So, yeah, I want you guys to know, that unbelievable that a cop would react that way. Yeah, they mental health issues with biases from law enforcement. When they called in to the police department, 911, they said, please don't give me a racist cop. They already knew about the racism, and absolutely just in my mind, that police officer is going to be convicted, and we're going to watch that together. We're going to look at his history, Lisa. We're going to listen to some interrogations, and we're going to go through the whole case and follow it through. Synth, you're right. She recognized the evil spirit. She knew. He told her to go get the hot pot of water, and then why didn't he go turn off? He didn't need to turn off. He knew what he wanted to do, and we're going to get into that. This makes me so mad. This case makes me angry with the justice system and everything else. So I'll save it for tomorrow. I really hope that you guys can join me, because I'm passionate about this case, and I really want this to be heard, and for this not to happen again anytime soon. Clark, the police are not defunded objectively and factually. The orange guy wants blanket immunity for all cops, and then isn't that interesting? We have so much to talk about tomorrow, folks. He told her to go check the sub. He set her up. He bullied her from the get-go, Sunshine. When he came to that door, he absolutely bullied her. He talked down to her, and he acted like she was bothering him. And then they shouldn't even walked into her house. This is just absolutely an injustice. She dropped the pot. You're right. We're going to go over that. She dropped the pot before he shot her. She lifted it up like this much, and it's only because he pointed the gun at her and said, I'll blow your fucking head off. absolutely insane. I mean, this is just, you guys need to, you need to be there with me, all of you, whoever can. And I thought the same thing. I thought, why isn't this getting as much attention as George Floyd, minus the uh, minus people rioting and stuff like that. But Kamala or Kamala got into this as well. She spoke on it, and then one of her fellow people spoke on it as well. I believe Trump did as well, just because that's what politicians do around election time. Yeah, and George Floyd is not all what we told, but I'm not going to get into that because that causes too many feelings, too many things. So I love you all. Kamala. No, it's Kamala Harris. Yeah, is that what you're saying? Kamala. I know it's not Kamala. Some people say Kamala, but Kamala. Kamala. I love how you guys do that. Kamala. Kamala. Are we doing Kamala? And Lady for Justice says no witnesses in this time except his partner, by the way, who's back to work. But you know what? You don't have to have witnesses when you have body cam. Kamala. I love how you guys are all telling me comma, like comma. Yeah, I said Kamala. Am I saying it wrong still? Comma, like you put a comma in. Kamala, not Kamila. No. You guys are so funny. All right. I'm out of here, y'all. We're going to timestamp this. When I say we, I mean Bree. Gothic Bree is going to timestamp this, and she'll timestamp all this shit out that I put in here. But I love you all, and I hope to see you tomorrow, because I wouldn't want to spend my time with anyone else but y'all. So you guys have a good night. Be safe. Racism and misogyny, absolutely. Be careful. Be careful calling the cops when you see that kind of stuff. That scares me. On that note, I love you all, and I'm out of here.